Yeah, we do. We make Pearl improvise a song every episode, and she pretends she hates it, and maybe she actually does, but we don't ask and we don't care. Absolute Ultimate Escapist Comics podcast. We've been on hiatus the last couple of weeks because I've been out of town and the rest of these divas have been too lazy to record without me. So the fans, our many, many adoring fans, have been waiting what I'm sure feels like decades for new episodes of the podcast to drop.
Poor friend of the podcast, Jerry, has asked about it.
I've been getting DMs, I've been getting texts, cold calls, my mailbox is full. People are clamoring for a new episode. And here it is. This is episode 23 of the Absolute Ultimate Escapist Comics pod. Pearl has rejoined us, so she's going to hit us with an intro song.
Oh, were you waiting on me?
Yeah.
I'm sorry your little pot princess had to use the potty. Yeah, you know I've got a theme song ready to go. I've had so much time to think of one.
Yeah, all of 3 weeks.
Several weeks to really polish
Plus
something.
the 2 hours you were on the shitter just now.
I was not... Okay, listen, I don't have to explain myself to you. Go for 2 minutes! I'm in love with Escapist. She's reading small books and have pictures. She's in love with Escapist. Welcome back, everybody.
That was the most important part of the podcast.
Yeah.
Every week.
You were so strong and so brave.
I'm really strong and brave and smart and tall and beautiful. The list goes on.
Yeah.
Everyone's saying this.
Yeah, Twitter's been blowing up about it.
Not Twitter. We're not Dead Name X for once.
Yeah, so we are officially back now that Pearl has sung her song. We've got some news that Persephone's going to catch us up on because I've not been reading my headlines. And then, yeah, we're going to get right into it. Today we've got 2 guests, although I feel like Acacia is not really a guest anymore, more of just like a every once in a while member of the pod.
I'm like a cat that doesn't live there, but like just comes to your porch every day and you start feeding it, and it's like it's your cat, but there's plausible deniability. Like if they get sick of me, they can say that I was never here.
Well, we would never get sick of you, so.
Yeah. And then our fifth member is my dear friend Ryan Durrett of Sacramento to San Diego to Bay Area fame.
Yes.
That's I think first.
Are you still in Sacramento?
No. I'm San Francisco from Sacramento by way of San Diego.
Mm-hmm. We went to school together.
Oh.
Yeah. I assumed that you, Acacia, were a fixture of the podcast. I didn't realize we were both.
You're fast
I'm
becoming a
fixture.
Yeah.
I've been here several times. But
yeah. She's familiar with the territory.
Yes. No one's surprised when I'm here.
I'm shocking everyone by being here. Right
yeah. The subreddit's gonna blow up later. Wait, we should start a subreddit. Wait.
We're gonna have to teach our old man subscribers to use Reddit.
No, Jerry knows how to use Reddit.
Of course Jerry knows how to use Reddit. I feel like
most of our listeners are younger than you're giving them credit for.
I don't know how to use Reddit.
Yeah, well, you were busy on 8chan or whatever.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I am a Discord kitten, if anything.
I don't think you've ever been a kitten.
Beating the puppy girl allegations over here.
Well, you are like a sky puppy, like a bat.
All right, now we're getting into territory that's private.
You made public stickers. Anyway.
Now we're getting into inside thoughts. Coming outside. Let's talk comics news. What's up in the industry right now?
Cool. We're gonna go through it kind of quickly because any one of these things could take some time, and we just don't have time to spend a huge amount on all of them.
Dave Pilkey's at it again.
That's
First
the most
of all,
important.
eating the livers of his children readers.
Is this like Saturn devouring his own son kind of situation?
Yeah.
But it's like Captain Underpants biting Harold's.
Yeah. It takes a lot of human liver sacrifice to get those books out.
Yeah.
I mean, that does make sense. That's actually the most believable
the ink is
allegation.
actually not
yet.
ink. It's just blood. It's just child blood. Yeah.
Oh, I love that we're doing the Captain Underpants blood libel.
Yeah. It had to be done.
Finally, a blood libel only for
The
Dave
people
Pilkey.
have been clamoring for it.
Okay, well, that's the news.
And much sadder news, Marjane Sarapi died, author of Persepolis. I am not super familiar with her work. That is a glaring omission in my
Have you not read
reading.
Persepolis?
I actually have not, no. Glaring hole in my reading.
You've read
so.
Persepolis, Ryan.
Yeah,
one of your few comic canon.
Bitch, one of my several comic canon.
What did you think of Persepolis when you read it?
I loved it. I read it in high school, and it was like the non-complete version, and then I like asked for the complete version for Christmas because I liked it so much, and I was an adolescent. So it was a great introduction to comics. Loved her.
It is so good.
Yeah.
I reread it like a couple of years ago, just because I like wanted to see if it still held up, and it was really amazing. I like hosted a movie night where we watched the animated movie, which is also like, if you're not feeling like reading the whole ass book, the movie is like also really incredible. I think she died of heartbreak.
Yeah.
That's what I heard.
Quite literally, which is really, really sad too. And I think indicative of how deeply she kind of felt the world and sort of felt love throughout her life. It's a huge loss to the creative community and just the world in general. If you haven't read Persepolis, people out there listening, you should absolutely read it. It's just really wonderful. It's touching and hilarious and sad and joyful.
And if you have,
no, go ahead.
If you have read Persepolis, you should reread it probably now.
Yeah,
You know.
it's pretty metal. It's kind of awesome.
We also have some smaller releases from her up at the front, as well as Persepolis, the complete versions. I forget what it's called off the top of my head. We can put it in the show notes, but we have another book by her that's less well known.
I like that we keep referencing the show notes, and like I've never even figured out how to write a show note in my fucking life. Are there show notes? Is that just what the blurb of the episode is?
Yeah, it'd be like.
Oh, so I have been writing show notes. I'm just not without realizing that's what they were.
We're learning a lot today.
I know. I'm a pro, guys.
Okay, embroideries. That's what.
Yeah.
Which I have not read either, but.
Yeah, I love her style. It's so fucking cool. This, like, inspired by, like, Persian, tapestry art vibes is so neat. Man, I haven't read this. I think I should read this.
I hadn't even heard of that one until Corinne brought it over after she died.
I'm gonna take this home and read it.
Awesome.
Yeah, for those of you listening, Embroideries, it's on sale. It's $7.50. So come pick it up. So far we haven't gotten the post-death speculator boom in Marjane Satrapi prices, so hopefully it stays that way. What's next? We've got...
Very briefly, Dark Horse voted to unionize, which is fantastic. This is still a kind of a developing story, so I don't have a ton to say about it, but there were some... Like a week after they unionized... After Dark Horse management said that they would recognize the union, there were like 9 layoffs for kind of unclear reasons, and there's been a lot of back and forth. Union organizers, who I believe a lot more than management, said that they were not informed about these layoffs and that it seemed retaliatory. Management said it's totally not retaliatory, guys. But yeah, who are we going to believe here? This is still a developing story, so I don't want to be too, don't want to get too into it, but yeah, it's cool that Dark Horse unionized. I think more creators and companies should unionize. I do know that they they wanted to have just one single union between like creatives and working there and
Like editors and stuff.
editors and like people who work in the offices. Generally, the management wanted 3 unions, like kind of splitting up the vote here. They compromised on 2, so it's like office staff and then creatives. Beyond that, it's still kind of developing. But all support to the Dark Horse Union at the moment. And I think that's kind of all I have to say about that at the moment. And then the last thing, I'm going to try to keep this brief because honestly, you could probably do like an entire podcast about this because it just is that extensive. But for the last little while, there's been a campaign called DC So White, led by JP Penumbra, and a couple other black creatives, a lot of queer ones, who are talking about there has not been a black-led mainline title. Emphasis on mainline because Absolute Green Lantern is not mainline. There has not been a black-led mainline title for about 5 years now. It was like 1,200 days or something like that. And then as a result of calls to DC Editorial to actually have like a black-led book in the main continuity that wasn't a mini-series, was the other part of it. It was like there have been a few mini-series, but nothing like an actual ongoing mainline. There was a boycott started and stopped within the span of about 2 days, called DC Blackout. It stopped for a number of reasons. The organizers themselves stopped it, partly because they felt like there was a lot of contention, both like between other black creatives about like what like about like if the specific boycott of all DC titles period was like effective, or if they should be more selective, or like there was a lot of discussion about like if the specific framework of like boycotting all DC titles period, or if they should just like boycott ones that aren't led by black creatives like Jamal Campbell on Zatanna or Shay Grayson on Epic Catwoman.
Yeah, people seem conflicted because I mean there's an obvious sort of dissonance between like the boycott and the way that the boycott actively affects black creators and just creators of color in general.
Yeah.
It's also DC's lack of black characters is weird because they own Milestone.
Yeah.
Like they own like the foremost black created, black owned, and like black centered superhero comics publisher.
Yeah.
And they're like not doing anything with it.
No, other than like that one Elseworlds with Batman Beyond and older Static.
Yeah, there's like the Static Batman Beyond book that I don't think anyone is reading, unfortunately.
Yeah. And so it got stopped. Part of the other reason it stopped too, and this is the one that kind of breaks my heart a little bit, is JP Penumbra talked about that like because the thing that happens that anytime black people ask for anything is everybody who's not black crawls out of the woodwork and says like, well, what about me? And it's like, first of all, like queer disabled people or black disabled people exist, queer black people exist, like black people exist in every other like identity intersection. Like I don't know what people think they're doing with this kind of like, well, what about like, you know, like what about disability? Like what? It's like, well, yeah, there's black disabled people too. Like, don't. It's like everybody crawls out of the woodwork when black people ask for things or anything, and just kind of do a little whole like "What about me" song and dance, and that was part of the reason. The boycott was ended. The specific framework being like we didn't want to like take representation away from other people, and it's like a fucking bummer that that's how it like.
As if it's a zero-sum game.
Yeah, as if it's a zero-sum fucking game. Which was a huge bummer. That said, like, the situation is, like, pretty dire across basically all of the major companies right now. It's like, DC hasn't had a black-led mainline title in about 5 years. Marvel kind of, like... Miles is about it. Like, Black Panther's mainly just been kind of sidelined for the last few years, and they're also putting fucking Miles on comic book covers with George Washington, so, like...
Oh, God, that was so gross.
That was fucking ugly as hell thing to do.
Was that for 1976 or whatever?
Yeah, because Marvel's like really leaning into the like bicentennial fucking 250 years. Because Marvel, out of all the companies, is somehow the most conservative of all of them. They're all conservative companies, but Marvel's especially conservative. And especially blatant about it. Image, I think, other than Farmhand, which we haven't seen in a while, and Philadelphia, which we haven't seen in a while, I think has almost or no blacklit titles right now. It also begets the question of like broader questions of representation in terms of like who's behind the books. In terms of like actually having black creators working on books, not necessarily black characters. DC does have better with that, where in terms of like Che Grayson, Jamal Campbell. But that said, a lot of those are not on characters who aren't black, except for Absolute Catwoman. Anyway, this is a much longer thing we could spend forever talking about. It's just a fucking bummer that it started and ended the way it did, and it didn't seem to further anything because people at the end of the day are just really fucking racist. I think that's about all I have to say on it. Oh, other than actually, sorry, there's a very simple solution. Just give black creators more books. It's that simple. Like, allow black creators to work on black characters or characters that aren't black. We talked about this before in case you're on the show, of like not having like not pigeonholing creators, letting creators just do whatever the fuck they want to do.
Exactly. On that subject, I do want at some point today to talk briefly about Evel Ewing's Exceptional X-Men.
Yeah.
Because I think that book is a little bit historical, like a historical precedent, in that it's the first time a black woman has had an ongoing mainline X-Men title. Mm-hmm. And I have some thought about the contents of the book itself, but I think we should be talking about it just because of its, its historical nature.
Absolutely, yeah. We should talk about that. And kind of similarly to Stephanie Williams is the first black woman nominated for, I think, Best Writer at the Eisners, I want to say. I think
that's
she's
so good.
Yeah, she's the first black woman writer nominated, and the first black writer generally nominated since Dwayne McDuffie in 1995, which is pretty fucking embarrassing. Mm-hmm. Really, really says a lot there. But yeah, check out. Yeah, we'll talk about Eve L. Ewing's Exceptional X-Men. Stephanie Williams is doing Roots of Madness. She's going to be doing. She might be doing a Vixen book. She's like suggested she might be doing a Vixen book for DC, but that's not actually been like announced. And she did Roots of Madness recently, which Walter has some strong negative feelings about. Walter did not like that book, but I know other people did, so check that out. And also check out Jamal Campbell's Zatanna.
For sure. That one's a good one.
Like for a book that like I don't know. Have you read number 2, Acacia?
I believe so.
Yeah, the one where it's like she's like meets up with like Papa Midnight and
yeah.
Like even though that is like a white led book, that book felt like oddly like queerer, more like a queer and black story than like you'd expect it to be for like a Zatanna book. Like just like sorry, I'm really tired and didn't sleep super well. Like generational storytelling through song, and also that like queer adjacent relationship she has where she's like mourning the loss of her like gargoyle that she's like in love with and like seemingly like fucking. Crazy that this is like a mainline Zatanna book, but anyway, go read that. That's one of the best things coming out of DC right now. Actually, you know what? Do you want to talk about Evie Wing's X-Men really quickly before we move on?
Yeah. Yeah, let me put down what I'm currently reading, which I'm also going to talk about later.
Yeah, I'm very excited to hear your thoughts about that.
But, yeah, I read the first trade for Evel Ewing's X-Men, so I'm not completely up to date on the story, but I think it's like the first 5 or 6 issues. Mm-hmm. But it's a pretty interesting book. The main character is Kitty Pryde, who's back to being Kitty, as opposed to her, Captain Kate shtick that she was on for most of the Krakoan era. Mm-hmm. And it's a book about rebuilding and picking up the pieces, which is like the shared identity of like most of the X line right now, to varying degrees. But it really gets back to basics for an X-Men title in this way, but not in, because I feel like that's a common trope amongst X-Men comics, is like you're always coming back to like the fundamentals of the story. You know, you always have to come back to the school and the students and the next generation and hated and feared and the metaphor and all these things, you know. So it's very much a back to basics sort of X-Men vibe, where it is Kitty Pryde essentially training the next generation of mutants. Which is exciting for several reasons, you know.
Wait, hold on.
Have we not been recording or something?
No, we have been, I think.
Or jerked
I
around.
know. Somebody's obsessed.
Man was so homophobic, he was like throwing hands with Chris Claremont, a man who is straight. Like Chris Claremont, a straight man, was too gay for him. Like, that's how homophobic fucking Jim Shooter was.
I could turn her out.
I mean, she's dead, but good luck, Diva.
No,
That's never
Claremont.
Claremont?
Oh, Claremont! Oh, no, you could turn.
I believe in trans femme Chris
Yeah.
Claremont, honestly.
Christina.
Christina Claremont.
There was fights with. Okay, no, we can't get into that.
we're not
we can't.
getting into this. We are recording.
Oh, we are. Shit, I didn't realize we were.
Now
recording.
everybody knows about my Christina Claremont fantasies.
Yeah, Keisha. Let's get back into it. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I couldn't find the book on the shelf, so I'm doing this from memory, but alas.
It could be on the... Oh, did you look back? You didn't look back there?
I found the number 2, which is great. I need to read this next. But
cool.
alas, no, it's a pretty good book, because it basically takes the basics of X-Men and kind of like, I don't know, it doesn't like, it just makes it queerer and blacker and more like female centered in this way. Like instead of like Charles and Eric as the fucking, or you know, at Professor X and Magneto as the like central philosophical like, you know, binary. Instead you have Kitty Pryde and Emma Frost. And Emma Frost being the good, what is the phrase I'm looking for? Well-meaning, but ultimately a little oblivious at times, just coming from a level of like privilege and a perspective of always, you know, control and manipulation being the means to ends in her case for most of the time, in most cases, you know, and also coming from a background of being like the head mistress of a school and, you know, running a nation and all these different things. And Kitty has experience in all these areas, but also she has the experience of being the next generation of X-Men, of being the traumatized child soldier, you know, basically, you know, I don't know. So it's like, so Kitty being the head mistress is kind of this thing where she's like, she doesn't really believe in the mission. Or rather, she is living proof of the fact that this isn't necessarily a good thing, taking children and turning them into superheroes, you know?
Yeah, the mission's always failed her a number of times. Like, I mean, one of her most famous is like Professor Xavier is a jerk.
Exactly.
Like, her needs are not being met.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
then she just ends up with all these younger mutants like under her, and she's in a position to, you know, where she has this responsibility hoisted onto her, and she has to decide, like, how am I going to deal with this? Like, how am I going to do right by these kids in the ways that I have been not done right by, you know? And it's pretty interesting. And, I don't know, without getting too much into spoiler territory, I don't know, I think the characters are good. You know, the next generation of mutants is pretty interesting.
I like the new mutants that are appearing.
Yeah.
All the kids and like all their little backstories on like how they find everybody.
I hate kids.
Well, that's because you're gay.
That hasn't been confirmed. I haven't been tested. You can't prove shit.
It's like radiation. You don't need to get tested for that if, you know.
I'm just giving you... what? Cancer? Like...
Dr. Gay Hatton over here.
Wait, what do you think that you can see radiation?
No, but you feel it.
You're just exuding it, babe.
Yeah, it's
Happy
giving.
Pride! Happy Pride!
It's giving. She's giving.
It's July in my head.
You go for it.
June's over in my head. June is like my 13th story of a building in my brain.
It just isn't there.
Yeah, the 6th month on the calendar just doesn't exist.
That's healthy.
Sorry, you were saying, Acacia, about Kitty Pryde.
Oh, yeah, and I was saying the next generation of mutants. You know, I like them so far. Over 5 issues, I haven't really gotten to know them like that thoroughly. But, you know, they fit certain archetypes, you know. You got the one that's kind of shy and reserved and needs to learn the confidence to use her powers, and the one who's brash and, you know, what do you call it? The word's escaping my mind. Impulsive, you know, and wants to help, but is always like doing too much. And,
Yeah.
you know, all these different, but they feel very real and very like lived in, you know, which is like, I think a hallmark of Eve's writing is she writes characters that feel like real people that you know, especially if you come from like, you know, backgrounds of like living in cities as or amongst people of color, and like, you know, it doesn't feel as much as like these comic stock characters, or rather like they do hit these tropes, but in a way where it's just like, I don't know, many of these characters are like, yeah, I know that person in real life, you know?
Absolutely, yeah. This is kind of like link it back a little bit to what we've kind of been talking about. It's like, and I think we've said this on the show before too, is that like, like you can have like, even without like characters who are like explicitly forwardly like either black or queer or etc., like you can have like black stories, disabled stories, queer stories, like within stories that maybe like quote unquote representationally are not that. And then also if you just bring in writers of like different backgrounds, like they bring something to the book that like the same like 10 old heads who have been in the scene for like 30-40 years, like Mark Millar recycling his fucking like garbage.
Yeah,
like,
and on a fundamental level, there's this way that the mutant metaphor kind of doesn't work, or I don't know, it is complicated when people are like marginalized in real life and then they're mutants. And this book takes that on directly in that like none of the main cast is like no, none of them are straight white males. The closest thing you get to that is Iceman, who is about as not straight as a major Marvel Comics character is allowed to be.
That was something that really pissed me off when they made Ms. Marvel a mutant, was they always had her be like, wow, it's like so interesting, like learning about what oppression is like as a mutant, because I've never really experienced it, and like I just feel like I'm getting all these new experiences. But she's literally like a Muslim Pakistani woman,
and it's
in
also
the US.
It's bad canon, because if you read the original run of Miss Marvel, which I haven't, I've read a lot of summaries and like little bits and pieces of it. But even the amount of it that I've read, like they tackle these issues directly.
Yeah, like so many of the stories are about like fascist police violence against people of color.
Exactly.
In her community.
I mean, even the Disney Plus television show like touches these points.
Yeah.
You know, like it's so for them to be like, oh, but now she's a mutant.
But it's
so,
like Wolverine teaches her about oppression.
You know what it
it's
is?
like,
It's kind of like how, as trans women, like you sometimes get this like welcome to womanhood moment, and you're just like, this is not the first time I've experienced marginalization. Shut the fuck up. You know what I mean?
Cis women really think they are the first and only person to ever experience misogyny.
Seriously.
But yeah, to like, that sounds great. I'll actually have to check this book out. I've been missing like X-Men, like newer X-Men kids. Like, you'd think that there would be more like X-Men kids coming into, and they're kind of like for the most part really hasn't since like Morrison, like new X-Men. Like, was that the last time we got like a batch of like?
No, the what do you call it? The Avengers versus X-Men era when you had the Wolverine and the X-Men book, and that's where we got introduced to like Ida Okonkwo and like Kid Apocalypse.
You had X-23 too.
X-23. Well, she was introduced in the book that you had me read in my
yeah.
But yeah,
But that's
became a part
new
of
X-Men.
And then she had a little sister at a certain point. That I guess the new X-Men book in...
I can't believe I made you read NYX. It's so funny.
The new X-Men book in the Krakoan era sort of like did that a little bit. Not the first run with the fucking... what do you call it? Hickman and whoever the fuck else kind of just like playing the hits with like the OG New Mutants. But after that, like the... God, was that Evel Ewing again who did?
That was Vita Ayala.
Vita Ayala.
Vita Ayala, yeah.
Vita Ayala's run kind of introduced a new generation to an extent.
Yeah.
Oh, that's excellent. Okay, I forgot about Vita Ayala's New Mutants.
Yeah, but it's happened. But it's just like most of the characters just get shuffled off to the side so quickly, which I guess has always happened. You know, you'll get a generation of new X-Men, and then a couple of them will move on to, like, maintaining, you know, get to be on the real team and get to be in the middle of the main events. Like,
which I do kind of think
OG,
is, like, that's true of, like, the Avengers and stuff, too, I think. Like, I mean, I think part of that is just, like, the nature of, like, Marvel Comics team-up stuff, you know? It's like, you add an Avenger and then, like, people don't like them or whatever, and they get shuffled off to the side. But the issue is, like... most consistently. Like, I was talking to Sophie Campbell about this, but she was like, there's no ongoing queer comic book characters, basically for the same reason, because, like, you introduce a new one, a run ends, and then DC's like, okay, cool, like, let's make a new one, instead of, like...
Yeah.
I feel like that could segue into the book that Pearl was reading today.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Dreamgirls, yeah.
Wait, do you want to finish up anything you had to say, though? I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, not really. I could ramble on more about like new generations of mutants and which ones get prominence and why, you know. But I think we can move on.
Okay. Pearl, talk to us about the gay girls that you were reading about.
What the issue? Is it this one?
Yeah.
That was number...
That's number 1.
I read number 1.
Oh, you read number 1, okay. Yeah, so just to give people...
Pearl's gonna read 3 issues of something?
No, I'm pretty sure that's issue 3.
No, that's issue 1, I think.
This is issue 1.
That's issue 1.
Oh, it is issue 1.
We know
Wow.
our numbers, Persephone.
Apparently, I don't know my numbers.
Do you think
anyway.
this is my first comic book?
I think it might be my first rodeo, but that's a different...
Bit.
Yeah,
Thank you.
That's a different bit. Did someone just walk in?
No, that's Walter in the closet. Open the closet! Open the goddamn it!
When will Walter ever come out
Ah!
of the closet?
It's Pride, goddammit. Oh, this got damaged. What happened there?
Oh, that was a tear. Anyway, tell us a little bit about Justice League Dreamgirls.
Well, it features 2 gay superheroes that I really don't know that much about. It's Galaxy and what's her name? Nia?
Dreamer.
Dreamer.
They're both trans women, to be clear. They're trans women who were like introduced in like middle reader books like 3 years back and have just kind of continuously been like Galaxy was in like the really gay Hawk Girl book. Anyway.
I remember Galaxy. I've seen Galaxy many times. Dreamer, I see her all the time on like the trans or on the like DC Pride. Like she always I only ever see her when it's Pride. They love to send us a little DC Pride poster, and like she's always on it. I'm always like, I never see her in anything, but she's like part of like the gay, DC troupe of gays.
So she was. I didn't read this book, but they talk about it a lot in the first and second issue of Dreamgirls. She was like a big part of Absolute Power. She like was like really involved with Amanda Waller's blah 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 team blah 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 war crimes blah blah blah. What war crimes means exactly, I don't know because I didn't. You're not gonna get me to read Absolute Power.
Isn't that where she had that like iconic line about like Amanda Waller won't pay for my like bottom surgery or something?
What?
Yeah, that's in I think issue 2. I think
Amanda Waller.
Amanda Waller didn't give us paid time off for gender affirming surgery.
Come on.
They do say some crazy shit in this, but anyway, keep going.
Wow. stunned to silence right now on the pod.
Galaxy is maybe the gayest design of a superhero I maybe have ever seen. She's just got like glittery, hot pink fuchsia skin, bulging breastily about. She does, and just like teal hair down to her knees.
What are your
For the record, that's what Ryan
opinions
looks
on
like.
her weird head thing?
What do you mean his a whore? This is a woman.
I said her weird head thing. The thing.
Okay, so yeah, they gave her this strange design where she has like a flap of skin going over her head that maybe looks like she's wearing headphones.
I was gonna say they look like headphones.
I don't like it. She's an alien.
It's kind of bad. I'm gonna go on record. I'm gonna say it's bad.
I don't like it. We're sticking with it. She's an alien, and that's just part of her alien physiology.
Why not just give her horns?
Right? Like, what trans woman is playing Baldur's Gate 3 and doesn't pick to be a girl with horns?
Maybe they were like, you know what? What do trans women have? Massive, really expensive headphones with little cat ears on them. But they were like, we can't do the cat ear
Yeah,
part.
she looks like...
No, they did do
looks
the
like
cat ear
some-
part of Roka's Cheetah versus the...
Yeah.
It's giving lonely streamer girl who only streams Pokemon.
Also, on the subject
DC
of
knows
Girls
what
with
the people
Horns,
want.
shout out to the comic Girls with Horns, the webcomic.
I
I've
don't
read
think I'm
a couple
familiar.
of strips of that, and it's pretty good.
I will be
Looking up.
reading... Oh, that's cool. Is that one?
I
Okay,
would assume it's the webtoon one.
the girls with the horns.
Yeah.
Yes.
She didn't get her...
It's a metaphor. The horns are.
Whoa.
We're locked in.
Anyways, this is kind of the first book I've really ever sat down with both of these characters. They're both extremely fun. They are both extremely gay, except for maybe this one's bisexual. Because she keeps being... Or maybe she's just being tricked by a man constantly. I can't really tell what's going on.
It's kind of both.
Comp head.
They like every 5 pages we're doing like a different artist and we're kind of in a different scenario. Some sort of like trickster is like reality shifting them like throughout, so we get to see them in a bunch of different art styles. There's so much girls kissing other girls on the mouth, which is like really, really nice. I've never seen a comic book that says the word cis, so that kind of like threw me. Because Galaxy was like, what am I doing here? And Nia's just like, you know, when you're at the Themyscira, if you're killed by the hands of a man, you get sent to the Themyscira. It doesn't matter if you're trans or cis, sister. And I was just like, wow. This language is truly in a DC book right now. So that was interesting.
I know, we've really hit the mainstream.
I know. And, like, when you see the word cis anywhere these days, it is because some cis woman is complaining that she's actually a real woman and doesn't deserve to be called cis.
So, like, is this the real trans tipping point? Have we finally reached it?
I think, yeah, actually, 2026, here we go. Quick, everybody trans your gender. Galaxy's here to save you.
Drink the gender fluid.
Issue 2 has Dreamer throwing bricks at cops who come to bust up a pride parade. He says, you're not breaking anything. As for me, though, well, you know us transsexuals. When you fuck with us, we throw shit. And then throw shit bricks at cops.
That is not subtle, but it is very, what's the word? Cathartic.
Yeah, it's all like
There's a lot of really good lines throughout here. Like, definitely gay people are writing this because...
It's 2 trans women.
It's so catty.
At least 1 trans woman.
It's so catty and gay, and it's the perfect
Wait, who
little
are the
pride
writers?
book.
Jadzia Axelrod, who I know is trans.
Yeah.
She wrote Hot Girl, and has written Galaxy pretty
Well,
extensively.
she's the creator of Galaxy.
Yeah. She's the creator of Galaxy. And then Nicole Maines is some flavor of queer and or trans. I don't entirely know. But I'm not going to transvestigate Nicole Maines. But
I love when they get surrounded by all these villains, and Dreamer says, "I see the Pride Parade from hell has arrived." I want to know about all these villains. Obviously, I know Harley and Ivy, but there's some sort of like transgender scarecrow.
oh,
now?
I can explain that. So that's
Oh, is that ladies? Oh, is that? Yeah, okay.
No,
carry on.
that's the in Secret Six. It didn't come from Secret Six, but was really popularized in Gail Simone's Secret Six. Is like a they them like They're not nesting doll. What's their fucking name? It's something doll or like that.
Yeah, it's Ragdoll.
Ragdoll.
Yeah,
Ragdoll.
Ragdoll.
The they them Ragdoll.
They them ragdoll.
Ragdoll came in the first Secret Six thing in like 2008 or whatever. They were like very obviously queer, but they didn't put like a name to it. And then Gail Simone came back some years later, did more Secret Six, and then just explicitly made them they them, which was pretty cool. And then I think that's
And then there's some kind of sword lesbian here as well. I don't know.
that's not. It's that.
The sword is also a metaphor.
Is that? I think that's Vandal Savage's daughter. 'Cause I think
yeah.
she's a dyke. Yeah. Vandal Savage's daughter is a lesbian.
Yeah, and I don't know who this villain guy is who has like the keys for fingers and stuff.
Oh,
but
that's
is
that like Doormaster or whatever?
It might be Dormant. He's trying to get into the library of
Trying to get into your
Akashic, the Akashic records.
Oh, the Akashic record is okay. It's a thing in like 20th century mysticism where it's this idea that like there is like a record of like every event that could happen, has happened, or will ever happen.
Oh yeah, the Akashic records.
Yeah.
Of course. Duh.
What?
I literally only know this because of fucking Vajra Chandrasekhar loved riffing on this. But it's a Helena Blavatsky. I don't know. It's like a 20th century mysticism thing. Don't worry too much
I
about it.
looked down at a comic book for 2 minutes and we're talking about 20th century mysticism. I thought this was a comic book podcast.
Gay people love 20th century mysticism.
Well,
Grant
that's
Morrison, case in point.
In terms of gay stuff, I think Ryan wins the gay Olympics for who read what today.
Because I read David Wojnarowicz.
Yeah, I made Ryan read 7 Miles a Second, which we've talked about on this podcast before. Walter says it's pronounced Akashic Records. Did I say it right?
Can you come pronounce it into the microphone for us?
Yeah.
You got a text telling you how to pronounce it?
Yeah. Okay, tell me that this is not how you would read this. Akashic Records?
That's right.
Akashic Records. Akashic Records.
Akashic, okay.
Our fans were really gonna go crazy if we kept mispronouncing
The
it.
subreddit's got to
Yeah, the
blow
subreddit
up.
was gonna explode. Yeah, I had Ryan read 7 Miles a Second. What did you think? Ryan, you're a Wojnarowicz fan, so...
Yeah, I was pretty obsessed. I mean, I can't believe I hadn't read it yet. It, like, looks crazy. I'm really intrigued by the fact that, like, this is, like, the case for a lot of these comics, I guess, but the comics I normally read are, like, written and illustrated by the same person. But, like, he wrote it, and someone else illustrated it, and someone else colored it. Which I was like, oh. I feel like you can tell, because it's, like, hella surrealist.
Mm-hmm.
And so it, like, looks like it was put together from, like, a lot of different minds. And I thought that was really cool. And there's a lot of like dream sequences that it kind of just like that kind of just blend into the narrative because it's visually really kind of like nebulous on the page. Like there's a lot of stuff happening and like a lot of movement. Like it was really dynamic. I thought it was really cool.
Hell yeah. Yeah. No, that book means like changed my life. Low-key,
Yeah.
I read it when I was, I think, 8, first came out as a trans woman in like 2014. I just like happened to have a copy of that, and it just like rewired my brain fundamentally. He was still alive for most of the creation of this comic. Him and the artist James Romberger were friends. They were compiling it together, and then Wojnarowicz died partway into making it, and then so Romberger just finished up from like the collaborative notes that they had made together.
Yeah, you may recognize, I don't know if you recognize like the last few pages from Memories That Smell
I
Like
was
Gasoline.
gonna say, yeah.
So I think the artists definitely pulled a lot from Memories That Smell Like Gasoline to finish it, but yeah, I don't know.
Is the language like borrowed? Because I remember I was reading it and I was like, oh, it's so interesting that these books both kind of like devolve into this like one like outro monologue where he's kind of just like laying it all out and he's sort of just like screaming.
I'm not sure what the timeline is for it. Like I did look at them side by side after I finished this because I just finished Memories That Smell Like Gasoline, and there's like a lot of similarity. It's not exact though. So my guess would be that he was feeling a lot of the same shit when he was finishing this, or making notes for how to finish it, and then they probably did pull a certain degree from Memories That Smell Like Gasoline.
My understanding is a lot of the prose across the book is like excerpted from different
Yeah.
books of his or different projects. Is my understanding.
It's pretty incredible because the whole, like, I feel like the whole premise of like of that little monologue at the end is like to try to describe an indescribable feeling, and it's all about like the powerlessness of not being able to describe it or like to transmit it to anyone. And while I'm sure that is still true, I think it's astounding how good of a job he does of transmitting it in that monologue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it really cannot be said how much like James Romberger's like line and Marguerite Van Cook's like very searing like acidic like colors like do with this text.
Yeah, the
like,
coloring is insane in
It's
it.
gorgeous.
Like genuinely, I would like genuinely argue that this is some of the best coloring that's ever been in a comic. Like I think the work that Cook does here is just unbelievable.
Yeah, I wish they did more stuff.
Yeah.
They don't have a ton of work under their belt. I wonder if they went on to do different forms of visual art outside of comics. Because this really does, like, it reads... I mean, it is a comic, for sure. But it reads as something, like, so entirely separate from almost any other comic that I've read, you know? Like, it feels really, like, untethered from the conventions of the comic book. In a way that I think is... Yeah, I don't know, really cool. I was so happy to give that to you. And,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm
We'd been talking about it for a while, but...
hella glad to have read it.
No one knows it exists, really. I bring it up to people who, like, are really well-read in queer literature and, like, have read other stuff by him, and no one knows it's out there. I mean, I think part of it is, like, bookstores can't order it to sell.
No.
Like, we're the only bookstore I know of that gets them to sell retail.
Why is that?
I can explain.
Yeah.
It was initially published by Vertigo, and I want to say 94, I think, is when it actually got 93, 94 is when it actually got published. It was, even for Vertigo, even for that era of Vertigo, like a pretty out there for even what they were doing, like.
Yeah.
And then so it was like not even a huge run into itself, and then it went out of print for I don't even remember if it was in print when I read it. Like, I either, like, got it from, like, a, what's that used bookstore in Portland? Whatever.
Powell's?
Powell's. I forgot Powell's, the word for Powell's. I either got it at Powell's or maybe I got, like, the last of the print run. But it was out of print for, like, over a decade. And then this very, very small publisher, Ground Zero Books, ended up getting the rights. I don't entirely know that story, but they picked it up, and now, yeah, you have to order directly from Ground Zero. They're not a major publisher. They don't go through any of the major publishing channels. They're very small. You just have to go directly through them.
Or you can come here.
Or you
buy it
say-
from us, yeah. Terrible advertiser.
Just go online and get it.
Yeah.
Amazon.com.
Yeah, like you
obviously.
don't need to come here.
We
Just
got
kidding. Go buy
this
books
in the
from
store because
Amazon.com.
I convinced Jack to end up getting it.
Yeah,
And
but like
moved
we reached out personally to
Jack reached
Ground
out.
Zero.
And they made us a deal to send us some books, like wholesale or something. But yeah, if you haven't read that book, please do. Like, it is not. If you're looking for a queer book that's like going to go down easy and is like not going to like be upsetting, this is not that one.
But if you're looking for like a wonderful antidote to the like Target float of the Pride Parade or
Yeah.
whatever the hell, like this is definitely it for you.
It's not your mama's genderqueer.
Yeah.
It's not. Look, okay, I'm gonna say this one thing and say this only. Like conservatives flip the entire fuck out when they see like genderqueer, and if they saw anything that was like scarier than a 5th grade level, they'd kill themselves. Like if they read The Pervert, dead.
Their eyes would melt.
Yeah, dead on command. Like the people that think the green M&M isn't fuckable enough anymore are gonna be able to handle this. Like, absolutely not.
Wait, did they desexualize her?
Yeah, they made her like less cunty.
I didn't know about that.
Oh,
Yeah.
we'll play the audio if you want. There's a really funny Tucker Carlson rant about it where he's like really mad about how the pink green M&M's not fuckable anymore.
Oh.
It's so funny. I had not heard the audio until relatively recently, and it was like, I cannot believe he like very publicly, like it's not ambiguous whatsoever. He's very mad the green M&M is not fuckable anymore.
Okay. Here we go.
Oh no.
The changes right now on your screen. The green M&M, you will notice, is no longer wearing sexy boots. Now she's wearing sensible sneakers. Why the change? Well, according to M&M's, quote, we all win when we see more women in leading roles. Because leading women do not wear sexy boots. Leading women wear frumpy shoes. The frumpier, the better. That's the rule. The other big change is that the brown M&M has, quote, transitioned from high stilettos to lower block heels. Also less sexy. That's progress. M&M's will not be satisfied until every last cartoon character is deeply unappealing and totally androgynous. Until the moment you wouldn't want to have a drink with any one of them. That's the goal. When you're totally turned off, we've achieved equity. They've won.
So funny.
Wow. That's the goal.
When you're totally turned off, they've won. You heard it here first, folks. Our goal here is to totally turn you off. Not to talk
Pride,
about
everyone.
comics, but to make you soft. Moving on.
His mental health just hinged on how sexy the green.
I know, he was like the only...
He had a breakdown.
The fingernail-sized ledge that he was clinging to reality from was
Yeah.
the sexiness of the green M&M. What else did I have you
Relatable.
read?
Look Back. Right?
Yeah.
Yes, Look Back.
Oh, you read Look Back?
I did.
Oh my gosh.
It was a quick read, so I got like a little bit confused by what I perceived to be time jumping. I believe.
Yeah. Yeah, that
but,
happens.
Yeah, so I was kind of like, oh shit, a couple times while I was going, but really enjoyed it. It was very like minimalist. Like there's like hardly any words in it.
It's interesting that it's the same person who made Chainsaw Man,
I was telling Ryan...
which has a maximalism to it.
I was telling Ryan he has to read Chainsaw Man.
It's
yeah,
so good.
It sounds like it would be pretty different from this one.
Chainsaw Man's amazing.
Yeah.
Whatever you're expecting a book called Chainsaw Man to read like, it doesn't read like Chainsaw Man.
No.
But at the same time, it is about a
man
guy who
who
looks
is a
exactly
chainsaw.
like what you would expect Chainsaw Man to look
Really?
like. Yeah.
But
Yeah,
it's
we
like
don't have
cerebral,
volume
like
one. Dude, it's like so weird and out there. Whoa, we don't have volume 1, that's messed up.
I can bring up sometime.
Yeah,
I have a volume
It's
one.
so insane. Yeah, what did you think of this? Had you read any manga before this?
I don't think I've read manga since I was a kid, to be honest. And so this was more mature, because I believe I was reading, like, manga for kids, like, intended for children, so...
Like Naruto or something?
Yeah, like of that, yeah, in that vein.
Okay.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Mature themes, situation. I find certain, some characters in books just, like, really frustrating, like, I forget their name, but the shy one irritated me, just because they were so shy. I'm kind of just like, well, yeah, I was also confused because, I mean, is it the takeaway that this girl is, like, taking advantage of the other? Like, she puts her name on all of the manga and the other one is kind of just, like, happy to be her assistant and, like, not get any credit?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
definitely what's happening.
Okay.
I think it's one of those situations where you're kind of like seeing a character manipulate or use another character, but by the end of it, they actually become pretty good friends, and then it's like when in the high school movies when all the guys make a big bet. You wouldn't date the girl who wears glasses, but then he dates the girl who wears glasses on a bet, and then later on she's like, "Tell me I wasn't a bet." tell me I wasn't a bet. And then they're in
And
like
then he's
the
like,
drama.
no, babe, like you were, but then you took off your glasses and I popped a bony.
Not a bony.
A bony.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a good metaphor. For that.
Fujimoto would approve.
Yeah.
Oh my god, wait, I have to show you the Fujimoto.
4:55.
Jeez. I have no idea.
Oh yeah, this
You
is
gotta go watch girls play
this is a canonical
billiard balls.
I do have to go watch girls play billiards, but most
Gotta
of them
go watch
wondering
girls
if the
play
coffee
with-
shop.
This is Tatsuki
Those are people in the
Fujimoto
store.
trying to fly.
今から浮きます
Oh, fuck this one.
Oh shit. So he's like multi-talented.
Yeah.
Do we have
Yeah,
time to talk about your book, or do we want to just move it to next week? What do you think?
I would like to, I feel like my phone is in the middle of these
Oh,
books.
there it is.
Anyway,
Yeah, I would like to talk about Saul Williams' Martyr Loser King.
Yeah, talk to us about this. Yeah.
So I haven't finished reading it. I'm like 2/3 of the way through. But it's really good. And also I kinda already know how it ends because there's a movie and I've seen the movie a couple of times.
Can you introduce to the podcast who Saul Williams is?
Ooh, I would love that. So Saul Williams is many things. Sorry. He's many things. He is first and foremost a poet, but also a singer, songwriter, rapper, producer, actor, director, screenwriter, and now comic book script writer. So
Awesome.
yeah, a man of many hats, many talents. But most importantly, a poet, and the poetry runs through like all of his other work. But Martyr Luther King is a multimedia project that started as a concept album, or I don't know if that's how it started, but that was the first like commercial release of the series at the very least. But the album was also called Martyr Luther King, and it was like Saul Williams' like 5th or 6th album or something like that. And it's a very interesting album. It's a concept album, and it kind of like is talking about like this Afrofuturist sort of like trans allegory narrative, you know, around the mining of precious minerals and the ways that interacts with like the shaping of the present and future in various ways. And it's hard for me to explain it because it's very well, it's poetry, you know. It's not that literal, you know, like. But nevertheless, this book that I'm reading, I guess I will jump to the book because I don't want to spend time describing every other part of the project. It's just to say that they are really, really good, and you should go watch Neptune Frost.
Yeah, watch Neptune
and
Frost.
listen to Martyr Luther King, and also the other albums that are there was like a remix album, and then there was the soundtrack to the movie, which is the same songs as the original album but translated into different languages. And yeah, so I'm midway through the graphic novel, and it's really incredible because like it's kind of something I've never really seen before in this medium. There was a conversation Persephone and I had before about like the ways in which people try to make comic books out of poetry, and that tends to be like a little awkward. And Saul Williams is basically like the antithesis to the conclusion of that conversation we had.
Absolutely.
Because like this whole book is poetry, is songs, is lyrics, is, you know, ideas that are not so tied down, not so constrained, but like open to interpretation, but also very clearly talking about specific things.
Yeah.
You know? And the visuals of this book kind of follow that as well. Like there's a way this particular art style is very much, we were talking earlier about the binary between evocative and literal in art, like that this exists in every medium of art. But comic books is especially interesting. You know, I feel like a lot of the books that I've been enjoying lately, or books that I want to read or haven't read yet, kind of have this in common, where the imagery of the book is less about illustrating the action and more about, like, evoking certain feelings or certain ideas in the reader, you know?
Yeah.
And, yeah, this book is very that. You know what I mean?
You should read 7 Miles a Second, because I feel like that's like that's ground that this treads really well too. Is like it's often like not as concerned, with like showing you visually what's going on, and more concerned with like invading your brain.
Yes.
You know?
Exactly. But like, I don't know, and I can only really speak on this work in the context of already being like very familiar with the material, like in the forms of the other media expressions of it, you know. But I'm reading this and I'm seeing scenes from the movie like redepicted, and the ways that the comic medium changes these scenes and changes the way that you perceive them, like the difference in power, not a difference in power levels, but a difference in types of power between a still image and a moving image, you know. And so much of Saul Williams' work is about playing with mediums, you know. Even before the Martin Luther King Project, a lot of his music was this idea of taking poetry, like spoken word or like beat style poetry, and translating it into like hip hop or rock and roll or, you know, whatever the case may be, you know. And this is just kind of that same sort of practice in another form, you know. But it's very interesting. It's very, you know, Afrofuturistic, and like, I don't know, more on the nose Afrofuturistic than a lot of things are, like not just aesthetically, but in the ideas that it's talking about and the ways that, you know, technology and advancement and modernity interact with people's humanity, you know. Like there's this I don't know, there's so many different things. Like one of the key elements of the book is one of the main characters is a miner in a coltan mine in Burundi. And, you know, the connection between these human beings working the mines, you know. And I say human beings to emphasize that, because like in the machinery of capitalism and the modern world, they are not. They are less than cogs, even just materials to be ground down in the machine, you know. This metaphor isn't made explicit in the book, but like the miners are the mineral, you know, a resource to be ground down to make the modern world work. You know.
So that's like the first scene of the movie, right? Is like someone, and like one of the miners in the coltan mine dies.
Exactly.
And they're like, please somebody like get them out, and the heads of the mine are like, fuck you, like die in the hole, like I don't care.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But what coltan is a precious mineral that is inside of all of our cell phones, computers, and like modern devices.
Yeah.
And we just like, we use these devices every day, and we don't think about the human cost of it. You know, like it's very easy to say like, you know, we are all complicit in the workings of capitalism or whatever the fuck, but just to understand that no, there are human lives, you know, lived and lost in the pursuit of me being able to fucking, you know, look up information on my fucking video screen, whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
This was Walter's PhD dissertation.
what?
It was about this. He just texted it to us, but
What's it called?
it's called "Oh Awful Power: Energy and Modernity in African American Literature," but it's on like the intersection of race and like natural energy and power and resources. I'm obviously like butchering it, but he's unwilling to speak on the podcast. But I've talked to him about it. It sounds really interesting. He was kind enough to give me the book format.
Actually, can you also send that to me at some point?
He sent it to the group chat.
Oh wait, that was to the group chat.
But the first
Never mind.
chapter is
I will read
about
that.
the intersection of race and coal mining in America. But yeah, wanted to jump in because he texted us, and we never get attachments from him. So
Sick. No,
Yeah.
thank you for your contribution, Walter. I say into the mic.
Yeah,
He's
the-
not in the room.
yeah, the presence of Walter.
The ghost of Walter.
He's
We have
always
two
listening.
Ghosts. There's
Somewhere
the ghost
above
of Jim
us, always
Shooter and the
watching.
ghost of Walter.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, this book is really good, and also there's a trans woman character at the center of the narrative, but is not depicted in any sort of way that you see trans women depicted in media. You know, because it's totally like, I don't know, how do I say it? Like, the whole book is poetry. Her character is a metaphor. Everybody's character is a metaphor, you know? They have names like memory and technology and ultramagnetic, you know? Like, all of these characters are... Oh. Actually, I was just talking... Sorry, this is a little off topic.
No,
but
please.
I was talking to somebody recently about the movie Is God Is. And they discussed it in these terms as well. Like, every character in this movie is actually a metaphor for the, you know, some aspect of the topic being discussed. And this is sort of that as well.
Yeah.
But at the same time, being fleshed out as characters, you know, and having sort of like some... groundedness to them. Like, they feel like real people, even as they are poetry and metaphor at the same time. You know, but yeah, I don't know, it's very interesting. There's a lot of I could like quote lines from throughout the book that sound really kind of nonsense out of context, but in the context of the whole are very meaningful. You know, hack into the mainframe, dismantle definition, dogma, and duty, cardio Congo, blood rich in oil, hack into dreams, subtext, and subconscious, hack into heart. You know, and that's part of this whole long kind of detour the book takes, which is just you know, a poem that uses the word hack as like this repetitive like sort of motif. You know, but using it as, again, metaphor and literal, like, you know, and that is it's just a poem, you know. It's a poem that was made into a song that I'm trying to remember the name of the fucking song it was on. Hold up, I'm gonna look real quick. But yeah, it's just like, I don't know, it fits in this medium in a way that I didn't think was possible. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, I think the poet come narrative writer is an interesting figure in literature, and Saul Williams has become that over time, and it's fascinating to see, you know? I think more people should be listening to Saul Williams than do. I think he's one of the most important voices of our time, honestly.
Walter has recommended Last Angel of History, which he describes as a goat, funky astrofuturist docu-sci freak-out, early John and Momfra, as a movie wreck? Is that what it is?
Oh, yeah, it is.
Is he not in the store?
I found it on Letterboxd.
Okay.
An examination of heretofore unexplored relationships between Pan-African culture, science fiction, intergalactic travel, and rapidly progressing computer technology. Yeah, this feels exactly of a kind with
that
what
sounds
Saul Williams
very
is
in
doing.
line with this, yes.
Yeah, Saul Williams is incredible. I've only seen Neptune Frost years ago when it came out, but Jesus, it's so good.
No, he's been good forever. I first saw him in the movie Slam that came out like in the late 90s or something.
Yeah. Hold on. What is that one?
It was like a really big like indie film of the time. Like, it won like Sundance Awards and whatnot. But yeah, and that was the story of this man that goes to jail and starts doing poetry in jail. And like all these projects, it is a good movie in its own right, and yet it is also very nakedly a vehicle for Saul Williams' poetry. Because the poetry is just at the heart of all that he does.
Yeah.
But it's like, poetry is more than just a medium, though. It's an approach to understanding the world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I don't know, were we recording when we were talking about this earlier?
Yeah,
Persephone?
we were.
About how like so many of the great like storytellers in all mediums employ poetry as a part of their.
Oh, I don't know if we were.
Yeah, I think we might have been in the car when we were getting food.
Yeah, but like so many of our great like auteurs in various like genres and mediums, so much of what makes their work good is the poetry. The poetry of the prose, the poetry of the lyrics, the poetry of the shot selection, of the editing, of all these different things and all these different mediums.
Yeah.
And it's like, but when you keep that central, it's a different type of storytelling that takes place. And it's very valuable, and it's like, we read a lot of comic books around these parts, and many of them are quite good for various reasons. But like, there's something so different and so visceral about like comics that are built on poetry as opposed to narrative as the primary engine. You know,
this is a thing that I feel like, it still happens in the indie spaces. How like we've talked about on the show, Mary Payne. That came out by Lorena. I'm forgetting her last name. She's a Spanish author. That is very much like that. But I feel like we get less comics that are in that mode, in that like poetic first mode. We do get that still to some degree, and even within like Absolute Martian Manhunter utilizes that, particularly the deeper it goes in. Like there's stuff that is like absolutely poetic first. But I feel like we get less of that kind of like stuff that like Saul Williams is doing, the stuff that Lorena's doing, the stuff that like David Wojnarowicz and James Romberg and Marguerite Van Cook are doing. We get kind of less of that than I feel like we used to, just because I think there's more eyes on comics, there's more money in comics, and so because of that, like there tends to be preferences for maybe more outwardly accessible.
It's ultimately conservatism. What I mean? Like doing what is historically successful or what is most likely to sell, and it's just like appealing to what is or what was or what's most popular as opposed to like what could be.
I think another good example of this is like Michael DeForge's Leaving Richards Valley.
Yeah.
There's another really good example of this kind of use of constant verbal motif throughout the story, and that's like a huge tome. It's like a really thick book, and it like ties it into this like really deep tapestry of characterization and thematic development throughout the book in a way that like very few people are doing. Just I think partially because people are scared of doing anything that would sort of alienate a reader. And like reading Richards Valley, like I did have like a moment of kind of like shock, honestly, at seeing sort of a poetic device like that and being like, whoa, this is just like in the book, like you can just do it. And I'd kind of forgotten that was like a comics possibility at all.
And I do think there is kind of, to complement what you're saying, is like there's kind of a literacy crisis right now, I feel like, or at least like a disengagement with themes. Like people, like Corinne and I were just talking about this, people were like incensed that they just found out that like Scott Snyder of Absolute Batman is a liberal, and people got so, and like conservative people got like so mad, and they're like, I can't believe Absolute Batman is woke. And it's like, guys, I don't know how to fucking tell
He's
you
like
this.
killing Nazis.
He's killing Nazis.
Absolute
Like,
Batman was the one where he like beheads a fucking
like a white power guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, this is like the fucking.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
Rage Against the Machine is political.
Yeah.
It's that sort of energy.
Which bringing it back to Rage Against the Machine goes to show, like, it's not like new. This is not like an exclusive phenomena of like our contemporary moment. But there is like an increasing refusal across broader audiences to like engage with text even when it's super explicit.
It all started with like American Psycho and Fight Club.
It really
like,
did.
All the men who were like, this is instructional. This is a how-to book.
To repeat a joke I made a few days ago, I recently said that Mean Girls is that, but for gay people. Because everybody wants to be Regina George.
That's true.
Stop! Stop. It's really funny.
But Yeah, this is our call for more poetry and comics, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Shit. Okay.
and if
Lock
you're
in,
willing,
Ryan.
Yeah, I'll get on it.
Yeah.
More poetry and comics, and more Black creators writing comics.
Yeah.
This is both. This is proof of
Not
the
on
value of
that.
both.
very briefly again, recommending Zatanna. Like, this is in a lot of ways a plot forward book, but there's just like he doesn't like Jamal Campbell doesn't point and go like this is about like intergenerational storytelling through song. He just does it.
Yeah.
And I know like 90% of the reviews online are just not going to talk about that. To a lesser degree, Paul Chadwick's Concrete. I'm just not going to talk a ton about this. This is the first Concrete in like 20 years. It's just like, what if a guy became the thing and then he decided to get really into environmentalism? And you just read this and it's got a slower, more casual pace than almost anything I've read in a long time that like comes out in a floppy.
Yeah.
It's just nice to have like a slow, methodical, almost poetic pace to just like even the way that like we pull back from in and out of like a state park, or just even like the way that the water is illustrated, like kind of washing away this like footprint. The incredible there's like incredible like poetry to the landscape and like texture to it.
Also, it's giving like Kirby and like early 20th century pulp.
Exactly.
Also, obviously a very white dude, but like Alan Moore has a lot of poetry in Swamp Thing, and then later in Lost Girls, if you haven't read Lost Girls, I'm in the middle of it, but like that is a book with just like way more poetry to it than plot. I mean, there's a whole lot of horniness in that book.
Yeah.
I mean, poetry
also,
and horniness have historically always gone together.
Yeah, we go hand in hand. Hand in cock, I mean hand in hand.
Hand in fist.
Fist
But
in
yeah.
ass, wherever.
Slamming in a car door.
Yeah.
I'm still early in this, and I won't talk about it, but Tate has talked about it on the podcast before. Charity and Sylvia by Tilly Walden just came out, and similarly...
There's a lot of poetry in that book.
There's a lot of poetry in this.
And I mean, I think Tilly Walden's a good example of just a lot of visual poetry in almost all the things that she creates. She's really willing to just be like, we're gonna have like 5 pages of just like quiet.
Yeah.
And like, I don't think that like necessarily textually she brings poetry to the fore, but I think she takes the kind of conventions of poetry and brings it to a visual field in a way that I think a lot of comic book artists could really learn from.
Yeah.
But what's impressive here is that it's a 2-person team too. Like it's really hard, I think, to have like an actually poetic comic.
Yeah, the art in this comic is by Morgan Soren, and I think I don't know much about Morgan Soren, but I think in this book he does a really good job of like conveying some of the ideas and the feelings of the text, through the art.
That's interesting. Sorry, he's a musician himself.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's at least the Wikipedia says solo music project is an American singer, songwriter, composer, multimedia artist, music producer, and actor.
I see.
It really goes to like kind of to what you were saying of just like he's also a musician. He's like also like
They said multi-hyphenate bad bitches only.
Yeah,
everyone else can go home.
yeah.
Should we do like a speed run of new issues and then call it? This has been a long episode.
This has
I can start.
Cool, please do.
I caught up on Daredevil. I don't have a ton to say about it, but it's good. It seems like Stephanie Phillips kind of just like gets Daredevil, and like, yeah, I don't know. It makes me happy to see some respect put on Daredevil's name, but also some respect put on Spider-Man's name. Because Spider-Man's been getting just like totally shafted in recent comics.
I was supposed to say good Spider-Man material?
Yeah, there's like good Spider-Man material in here. There's like a couple issues of sort of Spider-Man and Daredevil doing stuff together in a way that warmed my heart.
Ooh.
I'm gonna save Deadman because I think Persephone's gonna want to talk about it. Absolute Green Arrow issue 2, very good.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of continues to push this like interesting dichotomy of, or like kind of cognitive dissonance of like what it means to I think what's really interesting about Absolute Green Arrow is like its willingness to kind of point out the hypocrisy in really enjoying like a super anti-fascist, anti-billionaire book while also like buying it from a publisher that is like worth billions of dollars in and of themselves and is like not leftist or progressive by any means, and like what it means to be kind of complicit in that while also sort of agreeing with the thematics present in the book. The art continues to be really good,
and its willingness to complicate Oliver Queen as well, like his whole like that thing that many men do of like, oh, my boy wouldn't do that, I gotta like just talk to him, and like the willingness to like, we've talked about it before, but the willingness to complicate him and not.
Yeah, I thought that was really good. I enjoyed issue 2 of In Your Skin. This is something that I'm going to make Ryan go home with, because I think it's really good. I thought this actually nailed the body horror stuff better than issue 1, just because I think issue 1, by nature of the concept of it, it was really hard to kind of get your bearings enough to actually be horrified by what was going on, because you like don't know what's happening. And in order to kind of like be horrified, you have to have like some grip on the reality of a text. But this does a really good job of really solidifying all of that. The art is gorgeous. The story's really good. Definitely an issue that I finished and was like mad that I had finished it because I wanted more.
Yeah. Can I interject briefly on In Your Skin? I want to talk maybe more about it when issue 3 comes out next week, which God bless. But reading that and then Nice House by the Sea number 10 this week really put into contrast how few scary comics we actually have. We have so many like horror themed comics in the sense of like comics that feel like going to the Haunted Mansion Disneyland ride. It's like a lot of like yelling boo and shaking your hands, but it doesn't really mean anything. Yeah. But just even having like an ounce of like cultural specificity or like intention with the way that like there are just faces in Nice House by the Sea which are scary, like genuinely scary images because they just put like tremendous effort into like composition of those. There's a video glitch that's scary. Similarly, In Your Skin, like there's a ton of effort put into like her characterization, the way that like the skin, I won't say what happens, but like some bad skin stuff happens, and
yeah, and I think it delves really deeply into some more character interiority in this issue, which I think is really good. Yeah, wonderful work. The other one that I think is also still scary is, and this is another Tinian joint, but I think Something Is Killing Children is still pretty scary.
Yeah.
In like a very different way, because it's a monster book, but I think that deserves the horror moniker.
Yeah.
I mean, Department of Truth is also pretty unsettling. Tinian just has some crazy stuff going on in his brain.
Yeah. Tinian's like almost single-handedly holding up comics horror in the monthly space right now.
Odin, another Tinian joint with, what's Bennett's first name?
I think it's Marguerite, I think.
Yeah, Marguerite Bennett? Yeah. Odin, issue 1, hit the shelves, I think, last week. Written by Marguerite Bennett and James Tinian, art by Leticia Cadornici, colors by front of the pod Jordi Belair, and lettered by Tom Napolitano. This is another Tiny Onion joint from Image Comics. I was very intrigued by this. It's got like, I mean, there's a lot going on in this book. The basic premise, without spoiling anything, is essentially a newspaper journalist and columnist, like an investigative journalist, decides to go kind of like gonzo undercover and like infiltrate an alt-right like Nazi society of Odinists, which is like the branch of stupid, illiterate, and sort of historically ignorant Nazis that think that they have some like connection to Norse mythology, because almost all Nazis are really stupid, and like don't understand history or anything. So she decides to infiltrate this group to write about them, and the group is like planning on like summoning Odin in this sort of mysterious area of Norway, and they're like all convinced they're like true Norse Viking blood, whatever the heck. And so she gets embroiled in this kind of society, and in this ritual, and then some like really crazy, inexplicable stuff happens. It feels very much like the Secret History, where they kind of start doing this like insane ancient rite, and then a death occurs, and we don't really know much of what happens after that yet. But this was another one where I was like, "Oh, is it? Well, you didn't give it to me. It's not in my box, so
Sorry, Diva.
that's
You've been
your
gone.
job." But I thought this was quite good. I mean, I think they could still ruin it. It's like, it's a very difficult thing to write about perfectly, and like they inject a lot of sort of complexities into it.
I will say issue 2 actually deepens those I was a little worried about the same thing. Issue 2, without getting into specifics, deepens those complexities pretty well. Like,
Yeah,
I think I maybe have some quibbles about certain parts, but shockingly more focused, because it's like, it's very easy and often enough just to be like, let's have some Nazis die horribly. That is enough. Like, it doesn't have to be more than that. But I do think the book is like smart enough to like reckon with varying social forces and why people get embroiled in these organizations.
Yeah.
Without remotely letting them off the hook.
Yeah, I think it also, again, I haven't read issue 2 because it didn't come into my box today.
Love this cover too.
I don't want to
So
hear
good.
it, Persephone.
I was showing Acacia.
Nice cover.
Don't humor her. I think it does a really interesting job too of kind of engaging with like American Nazism as something sort of not unique but incredibly distinct from European Nazism, and like what the sort of social and cultural roots of American Nazism are, and sort of like the insane dissonances and contradictions of even just like the phrase American Nazism.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think this is interesting. Also kind of a pretty good horror book.
Yeah.
Some like pretty scary stuff happens in this.
Yeah.
In ways that are very different and also very similar to In Your Skin and Nice House by the Lake, but also very different. There's like a lot of kind of thriller-ish aspects to this.
Yeah.
Moments like that kind of like give you a sense of dread in the pit of your stomach, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, there's an inherent tension to like just not wanting the main character to be found out, you know?
Yeah. Think very like in an elevator pitch kind of way, like Green Room meets The Revenant.
Yeah, with like some Black Klansmen
With some Black
thrown in
Klansmen
there.
thrown in there, yeah.
Spooky as all get out. I would recommend. The art's pretty good.
Yeah. She's worked with Tinian on some of the spin-off books. The like, I forget what they're called. I don't like them as much.
Oh, like the House of Slaughter
House
stuff?
of Slaughter stuff, yeah. She's worked on some of the House of Slaughter
Yeah,
stuff.
those are Tate Bromball joints. One of the fellow Tates of the world. Alright, the last thing that I have to talk about, because I haven't gotten around to Zatanna issues 1 or 2, and I haven't read Nice House by the Sea yet, because I just got back, is Deadman, issue 1 from the smash hit team behind Superman Kryptonite Spectrum, as well as Ice Cream Man, what's his name, Prince, Martin Morazzo, and what's his name, O'Halloran. This is really good. I'm also going to make Ryan take home issue 1 of Deadman.
Oh my god, they sent us a big poster of
I
Deadman,
love it.
and we instantly put it up in our window, and now I look at Deadman's scary face every time I walk into the store.
But Deadman's nice. He's
no,
a
he's
nice
nice.
dead
He's
guy.
a silly, goofy guy.
His background seems a little complicated to me.
It is,
what
yeah.
the hell's going on there? Like, he's conscripted by a...
Yeah, so
Is
he's
it like an Indian god?
So
To,
okay,
like-
so the way that this is, I actually think the way that it's described is actually kind of perfect in this comic. So his background is essentially, he was a circus performer a la Dick Grayson, and then he was like murdered. And I love the way that they describe it because I think it accurately describes the weirdness of DC Comics when this character was created. But he died and his soul transition was paused by what Prince calls a Hindu-adjacent aspect of God named Ramakrishna. So, in the kind of age-old tradition of DC and Marvel comics, they were just like, Ramakrishna, that sounds kind of Indian.
Oh my god.
Denny O'Neil alone in the 70s was like, the dream of the audience. Like, he loved that shit.
So basically, one of the things I like about this book is that Prince seems to be down to kind of like carry on with like all of the names and stuff while also acknowledging the kind of like ridiculousness of the entire concept. But basically, yeah, he's like conscripted by like a god of like the DC Universe version of Samsara to like be like the kind of like spirit guide for all of like the dead souls that need help getting to heaven or hell. So yeah, it's interesting. I'm really enjoying it. There's some like pretty spooky stuff that happens in here. A twink dies.
Twink death.
Yeah, I know.
It's like there's some spooky stuff, but it also feels like appropriately, as you said it kind of earlier, like a little bit silly. Like it feels like some kind of like classic, like even pre-Vertigo kind of DC horror in the best way, while also still feeling very like thoroughly modern.
Yeah, it's quite good.
I loved it. I think that and
I'm a
Zatanna
fan.
are so far the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about... I didn't have necessarily a ton more to say on Dead Man other than I loved it. For the same reasons you said.
It's a great time.
It's a really great time. Should I run through... You covered some of the ones I was going to say too.
Yeah, why don't you speedrun the ones I haven't done?
I'm going to speedrun some. I think the only one I want to talk about maybe a little bit longer is Ultimates 24. So I'll speedrun a bunch of things. Since the kids are out of the store now, this came out a month ago. Absolute Wonder Woman ended its arc. There was no scissoring, not even a kiss. So I'm going to have my personal January 6th and storm the DC offices.
Oh my god.
They didn't even kiss. They like shuffled her off the board to be dealt with later. I couldn't tell if that was editorial or whatever. But it was still good. I'm just mad they won't lean in. Absolute Catwoman, it's fine. Bengal's art's really pretty. Unlike, like it exists less because it is an essential story to tell, like Absolute Green Arrow does, but because Absolute Batman makes money, it's fine. I don't hate it. I'll probably read the next issue because I work here, but that's probably the only reason I'm gonna read it.
There's one variant cover of it that I thought was really hot, and it's like my phone lock screen now.
Is it the Carrie Andrews one? Where she's like the please, I hope this is the one that I think it is. Oh, that one's good too.
Which one were you talking about?
I will find it as I talk, but nobody wanted this one. And except for me, I was the only person to pick this cover up, and I was like so many cover guys like wanted different covers, but they didn't pick this one up, and I'm like, what the fuck is the matter with you?
Oh,
like there's like real sensuality to this one, and the way she's just like the like finger of her nail and the lip, like
that's good.
That's good stuff, and none of our cover guys wanted it. None of them.
I just hate her stupid helmet. That's my only real hot take.
Yeah, the book just doesn't do it. Like, it reads like every Catwoman book you've read in the last, like, 30 years. Like, it doesn't have anything...
Who wrote it?
Che Grayson, which is a bummer. I wish I liked Che Grayson's work more.
Honestly, like, black creators shouldn't be ghettoized to black characters, but black women characters should be written by black women.
Yeah.
There's a specificity to the experience that other writers can just very harshly miss.
Yeah. And I do hope that, like... Because Che Grayson is black and non-binary. I wish that like I felt more of.
I made several assumptions based on their name. My bad.
No, it's good. I wasn't trying to like. That wasn't like a call out.
That wasn't coming on the podcast again. I can't. It's over.
You made an ass out of you and this podcast. No, I don't worry about. I only know because I just. Like, I just know Che Grayson, but, like, I wish because like Absolute Catwoman is like Afro-Latina, like she's like specifically Afro-Cuban, and that just like has almost no effect on the book.
That's kind of what I was getting at.
Yeah.
Like your description of it, I'm just like, it shouldn't read like every other Catwoman book because a black woman in the position of being Catwoman would have a different experience.
And it just like doesn't. Like it just reads like, oh man, that's crazy. I'm doing Catwoman shit again. Like Holly's in trouble. It's like, okay, who fucking cares? That's all I have to say about that one. Absolute Batman, really quickly. It's still good overall, but the strain of doing entirely too many things is showing. Like, this can't be the arc where we do Scarecrow and we do the Mech Robins and we do First Meeting with Joker and we do Deathstroke and we do Clayface and we do like 20 other things, and they announced a bunch of others I won't say. Like we just need to like pick like 3 of those things, maybe 5. Wheel it back. Like we should not be doing the next issue is like they're switching the artists and doing like a Harley Quinn origin issue, but instead of between arcs, it's like the penultimate issue before the end of the arc. So it's a good book, but the pacing sucks, and it's just like just pick one thing, Scott. Just like pick a fucking lane. Jumping over to Batwoman. Rucka's having a great time playing with his favorite lesbians. That man plays with like his like he's like Robert Kirkman with like his like Transformers. He's just like bashing his G.I. Joes and Transformers together. Greg Rucka's like that with the lesbians he created in the early 2000s. He's like he's got his Question and Batwoman are like he's kind of just like pushing them together. Now kiss. Like it's really funny that he made some lesbians up to ship. That said, as much as I really like this book, it is not a good next level title because it is becoming increasingly clear that this is Greg Rucka doing this like larger meta story that he's been doing for like they were talking about like the Books of Blood, and I was like, in the newest issue, I was like, wait a second, isn't that the name of one of his like Question miniseries from like 2006? Like, what are we like? We can't be this deep. Like, I do.
He's been playing the long game, Persephone.
I do.
He's playing 40 chess.
No, I've heard comic creators describe like writing superhero titles as like playing with the toys and then putting them back in the toy box. It's like he came back and was like, "That's my toy. That's my toy. That's my toy. I'm taking them all."
I brought this from home. I brought this from home.
And they're all lesbians. Is the thing. They're all lesbians. He loves his lesbians. And like, look, as much as I find it a little frustrating, I'm also deeply charmed by it in a way, in a medium in which like you'll see review sites being like, issue 52 docking some points because that wasn't a perfect jumping on point. It's like chapter 50 of like an ongoing story. Why did you think that was going to be a perfect jumping on point for new readers? Like, things should be accessible up to a point, but I do appreciate some guy going the complete opposite direction and going like, I'm just doing my thing over here. Like, if you don't get it, like, fuck you.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. I think... And then, yeah, Bleeding Hearts came out last week.
Just like karaoke.
Soon as Absolute Martian's
Honestly,
done,
this is my life.
Bleeding Hearts will be the best book on the shelf after Martian's done. I'm going to be really sad when Martian goes, but we'll have Bleeding Hearts. It continues to be great. The one book I want to kind of talk about in any kind of depth, because we already talked about Zatanna, we talked about pretty much all these, is the Ultimates 24. So, Ultimates 24 is the end of the Ultimates thing. It's not the end of the Ultimate Universe, blah, 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 but it is the end of this, like, version of the Avengers. And the kind of last issue mainly focuses on Ultimate She-Hulk, who, for those who don't remember, like, is a Pacific Islander woman who her entire nation was like irradiated. Her island was irradiated by Bruce Banner dropping nukes in the sea, mirroring very real world U.S. atrocities in the 50s and up to this day. And the final issue kind of focuses on like her casting the Hulk out of heaven, which he has colonized. He's like colonized heaven, and she like kicks him down to the island, and then just beats the fucking shit out of him. It's like the final issue is just like her obliterating him.
That's wonderful.
It's
good for her.
Awesome, and that's kind of the thing I want to talk about with the Ultimates is that like 23 and 24 are excellent issues, and honestly, a bunch of the issues in that Ultimates run have also been excellent. Some have been maybe more middling than others. But as kind of the Ultimate line kind of winds down and I grow like next week there's going to be like Ultimate Endgame number 5 and the Ultimate Universe finale, and I'm like so asleep and trying to imagine reading them, even though my guy Dennis Camp is writing it, because there's just like there's something like soul-sucking about the end of the universe at this point, something like so slapdash and inessential.
No, it's hard, like, concluding these things. Like, when you try to have these big storytelling arcs, the successes are rare. Like, sticking the landing is the hardest thing.
Yeah, and the landing is just not there for the universe. But that said, like, the Ultimates really does, I want to say, landed. It ultimately does summarize what this series has mostly been about, which is kind of like attempting to do kind of like, as much as anything can be like a quote-unquote, like, anarchist set, like guerrilla warfare, like anti-colonial Avengers, as much as that's like a real thing, quote-unquote, massive quotations. Like, this book is attempting to do that, and like largely succeeds in sticking its own landing. But reading this series, which has mostly been a series of like one-shots, kind of like expanding on either characters we know or like making these very different riffs, you can feel the like kind of missed opportunities of the line and what like did not get expanded. Like, we got an Ultimate Wolverine 16 issue and who cares, but like Luke Cage and the Incarcerated Avengers is really cool. That is an objectively awesome.
I know Luke Cage, like, sitting in jail reading Franz Fanon is insane.
Yeah, him, like, doing, like, being assault for, like, assault being the term for, like, joining a job to start a union for the express purpose of starting a union at that job. He's like that for prison abolition. He's, like, keeps getting into prison so that he can, like, radicalize people in jail and then overthrow the prisons. That's so cool.
And that's such like a common riff that's done in comics, or not necessarily in comics, but in like, I don't know, I will say like cape or like action media is the character who's like, oh yeah, I get arrested on purpose so I can like fuck shit up or whatever, but to do that explicitly in like a revolutionary context.
Yeah, like an abolitionary context.
Yeah. And creating like a series of Avengers like teams that are exclusively like incarcerated people, like, is awesome. Similarly, like the riff on She-Hulk here, where like she's like I've already talked about her, like the Guardians of the Galaxy by way of like Grant Morrison thing from the year 3000, like bending the space of the page to like do stuff that like is unimaginable to the other people of this world, because they just like haven't reached 5D in the 2000s yet. Like, there's a lot of really cool stuff here, and some stuff should just be, you know, the single issue that it is. Like, I don't think, like, what they did, the 2 or 3 issues they've given to Captain America, that's all they needed. Like, they did a very effective job of like, okay, here's like the Red Skull, like, Nazi cells. Here's this man from the 40s coming into the future and being like, oh, you guys, like, are you guys like Nazis? Like, that's weird. And being kind of a little bit, like, terrified of that. Or even Hank Pym in the first issue, all the way back, being like, oh. And the other universe, like, the me of that other regular universe, like, beat his wife. Like, if I take these powers, like, am I going to become this person? And Captain America being like, well, no. And like that's really striking material. Maybe didn't can just be that one issue, you know, it doesn't need to be more than that. But there's a lot of fertile ground in this book to do more interesting stuff with this universe, and largely the Ultimate Universe as a whole squandered a lot of that potential, and it's kind of a bummer as this book goes out and kind of the last like interesting thing in the Ultimate Universe happens. What are we left with? Like, we're left with a couple of finale tie-up issues that are just going to tie up some loose ends. We're making some new character boxes into Ultimate Reborn into the main universe, and I nearly fell asleep trying to read the first issue. It just rolled off my brain. It's
You do have a smooth brain.
I know, it really bounces off. It's like Crash Test Dummies. But yeah, it's a bummer to see like so much potential kind of go to waste, especially as like, you know, there's a lot of critiques one could give the Absolute Universe, but I do think at least the Absolute Universe, largely speaking, is maybe a little bit more willing to kind of keep things going and engage with the things that it brings up. rather than kind of those things just sitting on a shelf, because Dennis Camp was the only person who was like, that is still left in the building, Momoko and Hickman being gone, like, the only person still left in the building who just, like, cares enough.
Yeah.
It's a bummer.
But
go read this issue, it's great.
Yeah. Let's call it.
Yeah.
Pearl?
Welcome to the end of your life. This is also the end of the pod. I love you.
Aww.